You know that feeling. It's somewhere between 3 and 5 in the afternoon. You're not hungry, but you're not hungry either. Your energy just drops. So you reach for a cup of tea or coffee or some snack, almost on autopilot. Most people call this the afternoon slump and blame their blood sugar. But here's the strange part. This exact ritual, at this exact time of day, has existed in some form for over 300 years, long before anyone knew what blood sugar even was. So why 4 o'clock? Why not noon or 6 p.m. or whenever someone simply felt tired? Why did an entire culture, and eventually much of the world, agree, almost without question, that this specific hour belonged to tea? The answer has almost nothing to do with biology, and almost everything to do with something nobody expects: religion. Here's the twist. In 17th and 18th century England, daily life wasn't organized around clocks the way it is now. It was organized around the church. Meal times, work times, even social visits were structured around religious observance and the rhythms of Sunday services, fasting days, and prayer hours. Dinner, the main meal, was originally eaten around midday, partly because it followed the structure of religious daily routine, where the heaviest meal came after morning prayers and before afternoon devotion or rest. But as the aristocracy began shifting dinner later and later into the evening, partly to show off candlelight, leisure, and wealth, a long, awkward gap opened up in the afternoon. A gap that, in a deeply religious society, needed to be filled with something respectable. Not drinking, not idleness. Something proper. Tea fit perfectly. It was associated with temperance and modesty, virtues the church actively promoted, unlike alcohol, which was the default afternoon drink for centuries before. So in a culture obsessed with moral respectability, tea wasn't just a drink, it was a statement. I am virtuous. I am not idle. I am not drinking. And once that one piece moved, everything else fell like dominoes. Because tea was framed as a respectable pause, it became socially mandatory for the upper classes, especially women, who were excluded from male-dominated coffee houses, but could host tea at home, which gave them rare social and even economic power. Because it was a status ritual, the objects around it had to evolve too: porcelain, silver, special tables, turning tea into an entire material economy. Because the British elite normalized this daily pause, factory owners during the Industrial Revolution eventually built tea breaks into the workday. Not out of kindness, but because a 15-minute tea break was cheaper than losing workers to exhaustion or alcohol. And because the British Empire controlled tea trade routes through India and China, this one religiously shaped habit reshaped global agriculture, colonial economies, and trade wars, all traced back to filling an afternoon gap with something the church wouldn't frown upon: a timing problem, solved by morality, scaled by empire. So here's the strange truth. The next time you pause for tea at 4 p.m., you're not listening to your body. You're echoing a 300-year-old solution to a religious etiquette problem that had nothing to do with hunger or energy at all. We think our daily rituals come from instinct. Most of the time, they come from history, quietly inherited, rarely questioned. So next time someone tells you it's just tea time, you'll know it's never just anything. If you enjoyed unpacking the hidden history behind everyday habits, subscribe. Because almost nothing we do naturally is actually natural.